Alright, so here we are for game number 1 between the quest for Harb's daughter and the Incredibads, which Harb is on. So, you know, if he wants to make sure that his daughter doesn't get stolen away, he's gonna have to make sure his team really performs this game to keep her safe. But we'll have to see if that's how it pans out, or if she's gonna end up in another castle. We'll have to wait and find out. So we'll see what the first cheeky ban of the game's gonna be. Something high up in the meta, and it will be a Lycan. No bullshit Lycan cheese coming out this game. Gonna be a pretty simple game. Even the Viper getting gone. Viper's just been appearing goddamn everywhere lately. So super obnoxious to deal with. I think I've had it in the last 4 of my pubs, and every time the team with the Viper just won. It's not like he even got changed in the C patch. Didn't get touched at all, but I don't know. Just today, he seemed very popular to me. I could have just been very unlucky and just got him every single time. I hope that was the case. And I'm not just missing something super obvious about why he was all of a sudden very popular. The Oracle also removed. Pretty strong pos 5. And then there is the OD. Another one of the heroes which is super high in the meta. Even though in the C patch, which had just come out today, he got nerfed a tiny bit, but not really enough to actually make him unpickable. He lost like 5 movement speed and 1 armor. And I think for like one of the cooldowns, I think his orb cooldown got increased or something by like a second. I think that's pretty much all the changes that went off. But then it's the Nyx Assassin first pick coming out here for the quest of Harb's daughter. Pretty much guaranteed to be a pos 4 right. Doesn't really end up in any other sort of role. I mean, he can be put onto 5 rather than the 4, but he's most likely to be 4. Yeah, it's just where the Nyx ends up generally. And there is the Witch Doctor grab up from the Incredibads. Very, very safe position 5 to go with. Pretty well rounded. And I love the introduction of the Aghanim Shard as well. It just feels so strong. Basically just gives him his own little way to duke out damage and just, yeah, a little cheeky bit of evasion. Gives him a bit more survivability. But if he's fast on the fingers and he gets hit by the Nyx Assassin Vendetta hit, then he could, you know, quickly get it off before the following damage ensues. But obviously, actually, I've got to mention, in this new patch that came out today, Nyx Assassin has been nerfed pretty damn hard. Vendetta no longer applies a break, which was like one of the main reasons why Nyx Assassin was so damn strong. Worked really well against things like the Bristleback Vipers, all that sort, and PAs. But yeah, Ice Frog said no, I don't want that in the game anymore. Just ban-hammered Nyx, got rid of the break mechanic. But you know, quest for Harb's daughter, they think that it's still worth going for, so they took it anyway. They even responded by going with the IO as well as their second pickup, so looking like they've secured both of their 2 supports. Unless this is going to be a mid IO, which has been quite popular. You know, just try and find the Kobold Taskmaster and just get that ridiculous movement speed and just fly around the map. It becomes really annoying to try and catch you. And there is the Mars grab coming out from the Incredibads. Very, very strong position 3 or position 2. It can go either way. It's very strong in both those sort of roles. Obviously, it's traditionally a position 3, so it's where you're most likely going to see this hero, but it's by no means guaranteed to go into that role at all. Just depends if Harb's comfortable playing this as a mid hero. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see. So, I mean, it's looking like both the supports for Harb's daughter has been picked up. Obviously, the IO can still switch. So, it's just cause, really, that the Incredibads need to ban out. Mind you, they have actually banned out the Undying. So, I think they are thinking that this is going to be a mid-IO. Not going to bother thinking it's going to end up in that support role. Maybe it's just to secure the Mars' lane a little bit easier. It is always quite annoying having to deal with the Undying, just constantly sapping away your strength. Makes it real damn difficult to lane. Which is then making me think this is just going to be a position 3 Mars then, if they're taking away that Undying for that sort of purpose. We'll have to wait and see. What's the Invoker? Ban out. Well, Quest for Harb Store, they are just banning out position 1s right now. Taking away the Joker, taking away the Wraith King. So really just trying to target vouchers right now. Even getting off the Terrorblade. So there is a little bit of space for Harb to actually get a decent mid pick. You know, he's not been quite targeted in this second banning phase. But I imagine they're probably going to pick up their position 1 in this next phase anyway. Purely because, you know, the position 1 hero pool's already been limited quite a bit. If they then get another 2 bans on the side of a Harb Store to target that position 1, then Vouchers could end up playing a hero which he just really does not want to play and doesn't end up going into a good matchup. So that's yeah, I'm pretty sure that they'll probably grab the position 1 in this next bit. Obviously got still got 1 more ban to roll with though. They've done 1 ban towards a 5, they've done a ban towards a mid, and now they actually banned a Rubik as well. That's quite an interesting ban, because even if the Rubik was picked up, it would normally be a 4. You know, people can run it as a 5, so maybe they're just banning it out for the purely position 5 aspect, unless they think this Nyx might end up pushing over to the 5 and the Rubik go onto the 4. But even still, they do ban it out. I mean, there's a couple of nice spells for him to steal already. You got the Death Ward from the Witch Doctor, you got the Spear and the Arena from the Mars as well. So they can be quite scary spells if they do end up in the hands of the Rubik. So just make sure that outcome doesn't come about and get rid of it as soon as they can. So now this second picking phase, we'll see what the first pickup for the Incredibads is going to be. I assume it'll probably be one of their supports, their position 4, and then with their 4th pickup, I imagine then it'll be their position 1 hero. But, you know, I could very well just be chatting out my arse and that could be wrong. So, you know. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I'm thinking about this quite a bit though. Using a fair chunk of their reserve time right now. It's actually going to be the Bounty Hunter, so most likely going to be the position 4. Just going to be a pretty big nuisance for the position 5 that's going to be coming out for Quest for Harb Store. I'm just going to call it Quest from now on because Quest for Harb Store is too much of a mouthful to say every single time I want to say their team. So Quest, you know, it's easy, it's abbreviated, short and snappy. That's the way I like it. So yeah, whatever role they are going to pick up for their position 5, then yeah, it has to be someone who doesn't get dumpstered by a POS 4 Bounty Hunter. Unless this is going to be an IO 5. I mean, they may very well push it over to a 5 now that they've seen this Bounty Hunter. Because then obviously the IO is just going to be sticking with the core pretty much most of the time. Not going to allow the Bounty Hunter to get on top of them. But never mind that. They do pick up the Chikiro, so that will be their 5. And this is going to be then a mid IO. So Chikiro up against the Bounty Hunter. It doesn't mind too badly. Can trade quite a fair amount with the Dual Breath and the Liquid Fire as well. Ooh. What the hell did I just do? I don't know. I think I pressed a random key on my keyboard and it just popped me out the server. Have I missed anything? No, nothing's missed at all. So yeah, the Chikiro can trade all right with the Bounty Hunter. Obviously, still does lose the DPS trade, but not quite as bad as what some other heroes would. Also, the Chikiro is just a relatively safe position 5 to go with. Not too hard to pull off all the combo. Always going to be able to provide a massive amount of DPS as well for a position 5, which is always a handy thing to have on your squad. And it's actually going to be the PL pickup there from the Incredibads. So we'll see what Quest is going to respond to try and play up against this PL in the hands of Vouchers. So maybe they want to grab a hero which wants to naturally build something like a Radiance. And they could possibly go for something like a Naga Siren, perhaps? Sometimes the Naga can build out a Radiance and feel quite comfortable. So it could possibly be the route. And then doesn't do too badly against the PL Illusion Army as well. With the Riptide, does a nice amount of AoE damage and helps clear them out. Also, it's a good way to reset if your whole team gets caught out by the Mars Arena. So, if that is into the wheelhouse of the side of quest, they could go for that. But it's actually going to be the Troll Warlord instead. Can obviously pop that battle trance to try and just survive up through it if he's getting quite low and try and knock down all the illusions of the PL. Especially if he's going to be getting that Battle Fury, so he can do alright. But obviously if he's constantly swapping targets, he can't quite build out any further stacks when he does use his ultimate, so might have been able to clear for him super quick. But even still, it's looking like both, well, I was going to say both mid laners, but I'm sure this IO is going to be the mid. The Incredibads actually ban out the Leshrac. So maybe they think this is going to be a, what, core Nyx or core IO? Unless they just think that the Leshrac could possibly go into the off lane. It is a fairly nice counter up to the PL. There's a massive amount of AoE damage, which is what you want when you're dealing up against that sort of hero. Just purge away all of those illusions as fast as you can. So it does make sense in that aspect. What other sort of hero would be quite nice to go up against PL? Tidehunter sometimes can get sort of caught out by a PL though if he has a rough lane, and then it's quite hard for him to come back into it. But it's always nice having that Ravage just to hold all of those illusions down in one place, and then hopefully set up for like a Ice Path, Macro Power from the Jakiro as well, and try and burst the PL that way. I'll have to see what it is they're going to go for. The quest, they banned out the SF and the Storm Spirit. Obviously, as it is just the mid lane for the Incredibads left to pick up. So you want someone, I mean, you're going to be laning up against an IO. So you shouldn't really ever lose that lane. Like, you shouldn't ever die to it or anything like that. Maybe TA is pretty good pickup. Obviously the refraction blocking out all of those orb damages. The Incredibads actually then ban out the Zeus. Okay, so maybe they are thinking that this is going to be a core Nyx or a core IO then, if they're taking out these heroes. We'll have to see what quest's pickup is actually going to be. Because if it's not this IO mid, then I don't know. It just seems like quite an awkward lineup otherwise. You'd have to have a core Nyx, I guess. But it's going to be the Underlord, so that's a hero that can deal with the PL quite well. So surely this will then be a mid-IO, right? Unless, yeah, I'm sure it will be. So Underlord, yeah, obviously I didn't actually mention it, but quite a good hero up against the PL. The Pit of Malice, locking down all the illusions. And the Firestorm as well, doing massive amount of AoE damage. Which is just what you want when you're up against the PL, AoE damage. But you've got to find a way of actually locking him down in that one area though. On the side of a quest, they've got not a huge amount of big lockdown. You've got the Impale from the Nyx, you've got Ice Path from the Jakiro, and the Pit of Malice from the Underlord. Meanwhile, the Troll and the IO don't really contribute anything to keeping a hero in the same position. So I think that PL might actually have an alright time just getting out of these awkward situations, especially if he just gets a Manta style, then he can easily escape the Pit of Malice every single time. But here's the Emperor Spirit pickup as the last hero there for Incredibads. So the Ember versus the IO, you know, as I was saying, the IO ain't going to kill him. Ember probably not going to kill the IO either. I mean, maybe if Acid steps out of position and then gets caught out in an awkward spot, then maybe the IO could die. But I think he should be quite safe, to be honest with you. So looking at these lineups, I think I am just favouring the Incredibads. It is a little bit awkward. I feel like they've got a bit better team fight. I mean, the only big team fight ultimate for the side of Quest is Macropire, and as I was saying before, they don't really have a humongous amount of lockdown to really combo with it. Meanwhile, on the Incredibads, they've got the Death Ward as well as the Arena, and then the Ember Spirit's going to be jumping in and out as well with the Fire Spirits. So yeah, I think they just got a little bit more versatility in the actual teamfight engagements. Unless, of course, Quest absolutely dominates the laning phase and just don't give any space for the Incredibads to really come back into it in that sort of aspect. We'll have to wait and see. That could very well happen. But I am just leaning towards the Incredibads this game. Alright, but anyway, here we are for game number 1 in the Reddit Dota 2 League Season 22. The Incredibads versus the quest for Harb's daughter. Will they claim her? Will they snatch her away? Or will she remain safe? We'll have to wait and see. Is this going to be... I apologise because I don't know many of the players in the RD2L just yet. I'm still pretty fresh, so I'm not quite sure who's meant to be standard mid lane players and who's not. But it's looking like Savac's actually taking the troll mid, and then the core IO down bot. Just starting up with a quelling blade and a crown. Quite an interesting starting item choice. It's a little bit of a swap around here. We will actually get spotted out by this deep ward that was placed out by the bounty hunter. So they are actually going to realise that this is going to be a safe lane IO instead. Maybe they might think about swapping some of the lanes around themselves now they have this information, or if they're just going to be happy keeping the Ember mid against the troll. Unless of course they. I don't know. I don't know enough yet of this league to really predict players' movements and reads just yet. I'll get there. I'll get there. But no action at the very start of this game. Ends up being 2 for 2. And no other sort of swap rounds coming out, so it's still going to be Harb versus Savact in the mid. I apologise as well, Savact, if that's not how you pronounce your name, but this is going to be how I'm going to be saying it for a while, I think. I think Vouchers might struggle a little bit in this top lane to really get any sort of farm. Just that the Firestorm spam that's going to be coming out from Zeke is going to be real damn difficult to try and actually stay by the creep waves and farm up effectively. Meanwhile, down bottom, Acid and Fred, they should have an okay time down here. Obviously, there is some potential for the Incredibads to actually apply quite a nice amount of pressure onto either of these two heroes. But that won't probably come until around the level 3 mark. Until then, they should be pretty safe. Keeman's just going to be popping in and out, stealing some gold out with the Janada. Obviously, level 1 is not a huge amount of gold, just 12. You know, hit someone, what, like 7-8 times? And that's a set of tangos. Well, hey. Oh, even managing to snipe out Acid's courier. Just a set of tangos on him, but even still, that is taking it out of the game for another minute. He will manage to come back in time to bring in the Sage's Mask, at least. But even still, that is just reduced regen in this lane. Luckily, Fred has got an absolute crap load there. So he should keep him going for a little while longer, at least until Acid's courier does eventually respawn. Well, Pokebet, actually just chasing down Roran. Obviously, level 1 Malik doing piss all damage, really. There's like 5 damage ticks. In terms of CS, Vouchers, he's 72. He's still behind the opposing IO, who's doing a little bit better. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Svakt is actually doing very, very well here. 11-3 to the 5-0 of Harbinger. I wonder if this sort of power balance in this lane will start shifting as more levels go into either of these two heroes. But it looks like Harbinger's going to be focusing a lot of his points, skill points, into the Flame Guard. It's a nice little cheeky dodge of the whirling axes is coming out there. So really the axes and the throwing axes are the only sort of magic damage that is going to be coming out from Savak in this lane. So maybe he's just building out more points into the Flame Guard purely for the DPS factor rather than the actual magic damage protection side of things. Maybe still, no one's really fallen too far behind in terms of CS. Zake's actually doing not too hot. He's 6-3 right now, which I'm a little bit surprised about. Normally when you've got Firestorm, it's pretty easy to farm up. Oh, he can put down the Firestorm, but Valja's, he just goes off to the right side, completely dodging all of that damage. At least he does manage to secure like a few more creeps. So he's happy with that. Acid keeping his courier safe this time. He does not want to lose it for a second go and not get his items again. So he's just going to wait for the bounty hunter to show himself, and then he'll probably go for the grab. And he does spot it, but he's just doing a nice amount of damage. But there is always the handy salve that has Fred left. But now Fred is out of regen as well. Neither of these two heroes have any way of recovering HP right now. And Kima is just heavily focusing out these couriers. If this courier dies again, there is still going to be any regen for Quest's safe lane to start, you know, keeping themselves nice and stable. Just a crown, a Quelling Blade, and 2 iron branches between these two heroes. Meanwhile, Saban, he's got plenty of HP regen to work with. Kima's actually out himself. I imagine we'll start getting some shipped in soon. This mid lane, the CS gap is starting to close slightly, but not when you actually look at denies. Savak's on 24 and 10 right now, and Harbinger, he's on 19 last hit, so he's not doing too badly in that aspect, but he's still got 0 denies, which is quite a large chunk of XP. So he's about halfway through his level 5. Meanwhile, Savak, he's a quarter level closer. There's not actually, the XP difference isn't humongous, but it's still a nice portion. Meanwhile, up top, both the two sides on the side of the Incredibads getting pretty damn low. Polar Bear's getting very short on HP right now. Roran's diving the tier 1 tower, wants to find it, but he can't quite close the gap, and they're going to have to be forced to retreat. So no one ended up dying up here, but again, Incredibads safe lane. They're out of regen as well. You're right. No, Polar Bear, he's just got a nice shipment in. 2 salves, 1 for each of them. Even with a cheeky claret as well, so they're going to keep themselves nice and healthy and sustain this lane for a bit longer. Looks like they want to try and go for a kill on Saban down bot. They couldn't quite get close enough though. Saban was trying to find the angle to get the spear onto Acid for those trees. I think this is literally the whole purpose of this Quelling Blade for Acid. He's just been cutting these trees non-stop, making sure there is no pinning points for Saban to actually find a kill. See? He's getting pretty low. Oh, he popped his salve to try and heal up, but you can't do that. You can't do that when you've got Maledict on you. It's just, you know, it doesn't just do that big tick damage, it does slowly do the burn damage as well. So Zeke does end up falling. That's the first blood going up towards Polar Bear. Oh, it looks like Acid, he's finally got some items delivered. Now the courier was flying. There's no way that that Chemo can actually find the opening to get that courier kill. Oh, he actually needs to be careful, getting quite low. There is no mana left for Acid, even Fred. Just the 2 Sages mask in the hands of Acid to actually try and keep him sustained. And he's actually providing a fair chunk. Actually getting a massive amount of regen for Fred right now, so he can keep spamming as much as he wants. Also just maxing out the Liquid Fire and Fire Breath as well to get the maximum DPS up. On top, Ryan gets stunned up. They're only taking quite a bit of damage. With this Maledict on him, it's a lot of damn damage. Even Harb just TP'd up him with a double damage rune. Going to try and focus down Zane as Vouchers goes for the finish onto Roy, but not with the Maz. The Maledict ticks him down, and he does fall. He's juked him! He's just done them all in. They think he's gone up to the top, but no, he's gone completely the opposite way. Sneaky, sneaky Underlord. You know, this hero is absolutely massive. You wouldn't think a couple of very thin trees would be able to hide him, but apparently they do. And unfortunately, that is just the rotation from Harb slightly wasted. He's still actually in this area. And Zeke just showed himself. So now they're going to be able to find the grab, and there's still a quarter of this duration of the double damage rune. So they're all going to close up into him. Now they find him with the Maledict on top. There's not going to be any way for the Underlord to survive this one. He does drop, but now Roar needs to be careful himself. Polar Bear tried to go for some body blocks, but couldn't quite find it. And there's no chains up for another 3 seconds. So he will manage to escape with his life. Meanwhile, this is a complete free farm for Zavak in the mid lane. 52 and 11 right now. And they will just whack away onto this mid lane tower. Even with a very, very early Morbid Mask as well, just to make sure he can sustain this lane as much as possible. He's going to get lucky with the rune. He does. And it's actually a regen rune. Pretty nice one to actually find. But now he is an entire level behind that of Zavak right now. But at least he did manage to make a bit of space for Vouchers up at the top. So it's not a complete waste. As Vouchers is actually doing quite nicely now. Still not super high up in terms of CS, 5th on the chart right now. But his game isn't getting shut down too hard. 400 gold behind Acid. But Acid's not been pressured at all, really. Hit the standards going nicely. Ooh, right, Polar Bear. He actually misses the Maledict onto Aurora and sets up for an easy double hit on the Impale there. But Kima's rotated round. And it looks like they will be able to find this kill. Pops the stick just to try to waste as much time. But the Impale's not going to come back off cooldown in time to actually keep him alive. Ooh. He's going to try and go for the deny into the neutrals. Oh, he couldn't decide what to do. He didn't know whether to run or get the deny onto the creeps. He should have gone for it. There's the Spike Carapace again getting the stun. One more Shuriken toss from Kima finally finishes him off. But that took way too long to actually finish him. I think Aurora's happy with how that ended up eventually. Just making Kima and Polar Bear waste so much time. I think with that Pale, he could have gone for the deny then onto the neutrals, but he sort of changed his mind. That would have been so sick if he did, though. But now, with that Helm of the Dominator online for Acid, now we can start seeing the true power of this core IO coming into fruition. Paired up at the moment with the Sator Tormentor. And he will eventually be swapping out for the Taskmaster, but for now he's happy to keep this keep the Sator online. Especially with the fact that the way that these the way that the IO actually pairs well with the Sator. The Sator just gives you Aura HP regen, which then gives it over to the IO, and then because of the Tether, then amplifies that regen back over towards the Sator, so it makes it super damn durable. Look how much HP he's regenning. Absolutely disgusting. I bet Fred feels well left out now. No longer getting paired up with this IO. See? He's getting caught up top. Has to go for the ult out there, and he does actually manage to clear. Meanwhile, down one, Harb just made the rotation. Going to try and get this kill onto Acid. Oh, he just managed to get the kill at the same before he does finally drop down at least. And now Freddy's well out of position. Harb just going to be on top of him. Does get him shackled up. Not in the range of the tier 1 tower anymore, but I don't think there's any way for Fred to escape from this. Ooh. Does require one more use of the Fire Remnant, but he does eventually drop down. Kima, he's spotted out Savak just farming up some neutrals. Just going to poke and prod and try and waste the time on this of this Troll Warlord. Needs to be careful there. It takes dump loads of damage just with one spin. Didn't even block out the Ancient. Thought he might have just gone for a cheeky body block then. Would have been big plays, big plays. Vouchers, he's still behind by a fair chunk in terms of actual CS. He's like to be able to make his top lane really awkward for him to try and farm up. But now it looks like he might have an out position. Hit by the stun. Maledict on top of him as well. Voucher's pretty low on HP and mana though. So he needs to be a little bit careful, especially now the Rawrans rotate around with this Maledict, with the Vendetta. Sorry, goes for the hit, and there's enough damage to bring them both down. Nice little play there by Quest, finding those 2 kills. Zeke did still end up dying in the end, but that's a definite worthy trade, taking down both the 1 and the 5. Delaying out Voucher's game even more. Nice call, he says. Ooh, Savak needs to be careful. There's 2 heroes on top of him. Harb just actually managed to outdo him in XP now. Got a whole level ahead. With the track on top of Savak, needs to be a little bit careful. He could get Goron now. Still has the Battle Trance ready to pop, as well as the bottle regen ring. Oh. Will now pop it, and Harbinger dived in. He hasn't got any mana to jump in or out anymore. Does have 1 Remnant available to use if he wants to pop it. But the Battle Trance is about to run out. Even with the regen rune that was already used, Harbinger is on the chase now. With this Flame Guard, all this AoE damage is enough to burn down the Troll Warlord. He just could not escape in time. And that's another free level over towards Harb. Level 12 now. Ooh. diving forward. Can't quite find the grab onto Fred though. Able to escape. Miracle up top. Follow-up damage, the Impale and the Firestorm's enough to bring down Vouchers. What the hell? How did Polar Bear die? What? He was nowhere near the Firestorm. Does Firestorm just put a permanent dot on you? Of course, I'm away with fire damage enemy in target area, burning for additional damage over time. Oh, okay, so yeah, he must have... The burn duration is only 2 seconds. There must have been the very last tick that actually got the finishing hit there onto Polar Bear. Unfortunate there for him, but very, very happy time for Zeke. But now Acids is happy to just carry on farming away uncontested. Top of that net worth chart. A full 2,000 gold over the top of Vouchers right now, so it's a massive lead there for him. And he's still holding on to this Satyr for now. I imagine once he finds a Taskmaster, he probably will swap out, as the movement speed bonus is just absolutely insane for IO. They're going to make a move there. The Ice Path connects onto Harb with the follow-up of the Impale as well. There's enough damage to control him, and he does actually fall, especially with the help of this Orchid Malevolence build that came out from Acid as his second item. Able to easily net that kill. And it's actually going to be next time of the BKB as well for Harb. He's got the Maelstrom, but he needs some way of actually stopping that from just getting locked down in that same sort of combo. But even still, no response from the Incredibads to try to save this tier 1 tower. It will fall. And already this game's starting to build up a nice lead for Quest right now. They go for a smoker play, but immediately gets popped by Kima. Maybe that's on hunt for someone else, Saman. Getting caught out by the orbs, as well as Polar Bear getting found as well. The cast working perfectly against the IO. That is the only downside of doing an IO up against the Witch Doctor. Is those casts will just pretty much guaranteed to be stun locked for a very, very long time. If you're caught out alone, that is. Harb just diving forwards, manages to get the hold there onto Roran, and he will eventually fall down. Meanwhile, the rest of them found the grab there onto Acid, tries to go for him, but he easily tethers down to low ground and manages to escape. And now in comes Harbinger, they're still going for more, and the arena gets dropped, trapping both of them in here, spearing in the Unlord as well. But the relocate, it takes up both out there, but the Ice Path is doing a monstrous amount of damage, as well as the Pit of Malice locking everyone in. Savak just comes in for the cleanup. Really well played there by Quest. Both the Unlord and the IO escaping, and then absolute destruction as the Troll Warlord comes in there with the cleanup with the help of the Chikiro. And he's not even done yet. Polar Bear, he has to drop the Death Ward, but that's not going to save him. Triple kill for Savak in the end. Absolutely amazing turnout there for Quest. It looked pretty good to begin with from the Incredibads on the hunt. They nearly managed to find a few kills extra, but it's just the Nyx, and they lose nearly everyone for it. And now this is going to be free Roche. Still another 10 seconds without Harb up. They might come in to try and stop this when he does respawn, but they need to be quick. He's dying very, very fast. Down to half HP already. With that Sail on the high ground as well, just scouting out, making sure they have all the information if someone's coming in. And it will just be a free roast. No one's going to stop this from happening. So now Aegis into the hands of the Troll. He's only 50 gold off finishing his S and Y as well. And then this is going to be a very early on battle in Troll Warlord. Feel comfortable just getting involved all the time from now on. Val just needs to be careful. He's gone for the doppelganger into the side. Managing to dodge out the Ice Path and all the damage. I don't think they have the vision onto him. But Acid, he realises he must be this all location. The Macro Pride clearing all the trees down. And there is the Orchid Malevolent Silence. No way that the Val just get out. Oh, he actually does a nice Phantom Strike off to the Creep Waves. But there's the Ice Path again by Fred. Finding the grab, stopping that PL from escaping. And it's just Vouchers, he just can't find the space to actually get his farm online. He's still so far behind. 5,300 gold at the moment, but still a full 3,600 behind Acid, the counterpart position 1. And he has to build a Manta Star. Obviously, silences can screw him every single time. He's actually got a Diffusal Blade queued up right now. And he doesn't have the rest of the parts of the Manta in the courier, so I guess he's just not going to bother going for it. So he wants to try and increase his DPS at least. But even still, tier 2 tower dropping at 17 minutes. Going to take away the outpost, and it looks like Quest, they're not even going to bother falling back. Savak's sat outside the tier 3 right now. Is going to force all the members of Incredibads to start coming back here. Obviously, this is going to be free tier 3 damage. Meteor Ham as well, increasing it. Oh, Kima gets caught to the side. The Ice Bar finds him. There, outguns the arena. Actually keeps him alive for now. Kima's going to be able to escape. You got massive damage coming in. All the remnants used by Harb jumps in. The acid dies as well as the Chikiro. Savak's trying to stand his ground with the battle trance, do quite a bit of damage. But it looks like his first life will go. He does still have the Aegis, but in comes the Dark Rift from the Underlord. Going to try and get everyone out of here, and it will succeed. It's a nice response from the Incredibads, actually, keeping their tier 3 safe and getting 2 kills at the same time, especially that super important kill of the IO. And Vouchers didn't even have to get involved himself, so he was able to carry on farming elsewhere, trying to recover his game as much as he can. That's definitely what the Incredibads needed to keep themselves in this game. So is the Axe queued up for the Troll Warlord as his next main item? Oh, he's tried to find the grab there onto the PL, but he was still able to just doppelganger off to the side and escape the damage. Would have been a nice cheeky pickup if they could find it. So Ag's also 900 gold away from Acid to finish up as well. And what's that? Makes the Spirits do bonkers damage, isn't it? Spirits now passively spawn around every 5 seconds. Okay. And then it's the Talon that increases the orb damage. Which I think is like level 20 or something. Oh, you know what? Really gets dropped by Saban. Catches 3 and also Spirit the Nyx off onto the side. He's gonna try and follow up the damage. Then comes the Sun onto Kima. Moran's getting pretty damn low. He might eventually drop down, but there is the Spike Carapace holding down Harbinger. Not that matters, there's too much AoE damage. Kima does drop in as well, so position 4 at the moment. If it matters, catching Harbinger. Yeah, again, there's the Spear from Saban, making a little bit of space, holding back Savak, but it's not going to be enough. There's too much control on the side of Quest at the moment. I thought in the draft that maybe it wasn't quite going to be enough to just lock down the sides of the Incredibads, but it actually seems to be working quite well. They're chaining their abilities very, very nicely. And just really maximising the amount of hold that they do have. And again, it's the Ember Spirit dead. This is going to be a tier 2 dropping in the mid lane. We'll see if Quest is going to feel comfortable going high ground again. It doesn't look like it. A few of the members are moving into triangle, so they're probably going to start working onto the tier 2 at the bot lane. Just closing out all of the exterior towers. Leaving the base wide open for sieging. Vouchers able to TP out just in time. And there was also actually at the 20-minute mark, both outposts were held by Quest. So even just increasing their XP lead as well in this game. Oh, they go for a smoker plays it. He ends up running into Kima. Just going to take a couple of props. Roran's here. Go for the Vendetta here. Instantly impale as well. Just quite a bit of damage. Over the fire spawn on top. Bounty Hunter will fall. Maybe just getting a little bit too overconfident there with that Janada hit. Oh, meanwhile, Acid, he's gone for the Orchid grab onto Polar Bear. And there's no chance for the poor little Witch Doctor to survive that situation. He's dead as well. Looks like Quest have grouped up the mid again. Maybe they are thinking about going high ground then. Oh, maybe they just got the spot onto Saman. If they can find the grab onto him, that would be a really nice pick off. He does have Blink Dagger though. And he does manage to get onto the high ground. Oh, cameraman, what you doing? Wasn't me. Oh yeah, there is our like a bold Taskmaster as well, so Acid. Just super speed. He was going for the relocate top. Oh, he actually untethers from the Taskmaster. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Incredibads looks like they want to try and capitalise on the fact that Zion's moved out of this area, but instead Kima just walks straight into a trap. They all trap. With a jump off from Saban, he puts out the arena. It traps through, but he gets immediately orchid by Acid. Insane reactions from him. Couldn't spear anyone, so he just drops as well. So he's gone for 30 seconds, and even if he does buy back, no arena. Polar Bear is trying to escape with the orbs. They just chase him all the way back to the base. And Harbinger, he gets caught with the Ice Bomb and the Meteor Hammer, and he's dead as well. 4 heroes dead for the Incredibads. It's just Vouchers left, and he is cutting the waves at least, so he's going to try and make sure that that he stops their mid lane from being taken. He does just delay it out, he's holding the creeps, he couldn't quite get the kill onto all of them or drag them far enough away. But that's it, he's really on the hunt. Oh, oops. Thought I didn't blow up my game then. Not quite, thankfully. But even still, he wasted enough of the time for most of his team to actually respawn, so I don't think Quest are going to be able to successfully go high ground. The Ember is up in 10 seconds. The Glyph does get used, but just doesn't meet your hits. It does avoid a bit of that damage. There's still going to be enough to clear out the creep wave and probably force the side quest back, but they're still hanging around this area. They don't have Aegis anymore. And they don't have any sort of other new utility to really work with, but there is a bottle double damage actually from Savek, so he will do insane amount of damage if he gets on top of anyone. So maybe Acid is just going to be a primary tether target with Savek right now. Like, not going to bother really sticking with his Taskmaster. Taskmaster's actually just running around with him, still buffing them both up. I imagine in team fights, getting that extra attack speed for the Troll War is just going to pay absolutely mad amount. Okay, trying to get the initiative for the vouchers. He's in a really awkward position. Oh, the spear doesn't connect onto the tree, just pushes it onto high ground, wastes a lot of time, going to force out the arena. He's taking quite a while to die. Meanwhile, Harb actually dies. Vouchers, he gets super low, he drops as well. They're both dead, even a buyback as well from Harbinger. He wants to come back into this fight. Going to start coming back in, but now Savak's actually made a rotation. Well, else that double damage, going to be tons of damage on the same, and he will fall. Harbinger's able to shine, waste amount of time for the two supports. Can't quite find the kill to him. Gets caught by the Impale as well as the Ice Path. Taking quite a bit, able to get the Remnant off to the side. And he will be able to escape, but even still, 3 members of Incredibads all drop, only getting the kill onto the Underlord. And now this will just be an easy high ground siege coming up from Savak. Still, huge amount of duration of this double damage left to use. And that tier 3 dropped very, very fast. He's just really hungry for kills. Keeps changing his mind about whether he wants to hit the building or not. But now he needs to be a little bit cautious. A lot of members of the Incredibads are respawning. I think maybe he should have just focused out the buildings a little bit more. He just kept jumping in and out whether he could go for a kill or not. Maybe they might have took a little bit too long. And the Incredibads will actually force them away from their buildings. So they don't lose any barracks at least. The tier 3 did fall. But that was inevitable. That was just going to happen. See, he's found the grab with the Harbinger again. He's silenced up. Here the Malice just manages to catch him one more time. Rowan's going up with the follow-up stun. The Orchid does run out, but even still, there's the mana burn as well. Finishes him off. He's gone for 70 seconds. That's a dieback as well. So this definitely is just a free set of barracks there for the side of Quest. No creeps actually. They are coming in soon. But even still, they've actually got enough damage to just burn through this back door protection. But now the creeps are here. Both sets of these barracks are going to fall. And I imagine they're going to go straight up towards the top lane and take those down as well. There's no reason not to. No glyph either. Voucher's just down at the bot, trying to progress his farm as much as he can, but I think it's going to be too little too late at this point. He's still trying to get his man style up. Meanwhile, they've lost 2 sets of barracks. And unfortunately, Harb's been like pretty nullified as well in this game. He doesn't have any sort of real big items to try and take some cheeky team fights and swing it all back into their favour. Working on that BKB, but he's still 1,300 gold away. Oh, looks like Incredibads. It's just the 2 supports coming out here. They put themselves in a really awkward position. They don't have any detection, so he won't be found. Even Polar Bear might have actually been able to escape. Meanwhile, Vouchers, he's in there as well as Sayman. They're both caught out. Sayman does fall. Vouchers at least able to get the doppelganger up to the high ground, so he will escape. They are on the hunt for him though, but I think they're going to be able to have the close. Meanwhile, the Death Ball gets dropped, doing quite a bit of damage on Acid. He gets immediately cancelled out by the Ice Path as well as the follow-up stun. Polar Bear will drop, and now Harbinger, he needs to be careful. He does manage to get off to the side there with the Ember Spirit, but there's the Orchid as well as the Slow from the Diffusal, holding him down. He will fall again. Kiba even gets caught by the Ice Path. Fred's just finding so many pickoffs there with the stuns. And now, just the tier 4s are now getting beat on there. Savak doing loads of damage. Tier 4 already down to like 10 HP. That's gone. On to the second one. Harb's up in 30 seconds. Voucher's here. The battle chance gets popped by Specs. He just wants to focus on these buildings, nothing else. Oh, wait, was GG cool? Oh, okay, GG was actually already called by Harbinger. I just missed it. So never mind. Well played there by quests for Harbiger's mum. Mum? I say mum every time. Daughter. They found her. They've stolen her away. Will the Incredibads be able to rescue her? Who knows? Probably. Maybe not. Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. But even still, well played there by Quest. They just really had a nice little advantage from the laning phase. It did start swinging back into the Incredibads' favour just shortly after the laning phase ended, because Harbinger was able to make a good few pickoffs and get a few kills. But unfortunately, that little space just wasn't enough to really build big of a foothold in this game. And Quest just quickly rolled over him. As soon as the IO had his Helm of the Dominator and Orchid, he was as active all the time, as well as the early items from the Troll Warlord as well, the S and Y into the Aghanim Scepter. Just went for some really early fighting builds, and it just paid off absolutely amazingly. Vouchers was on catch-up for the entirety of that game. He just couldn't quite find the opening to get his farm online. So they do manage to close it out. So that's them taking game number 1. Game number 2 will be coming up pretty soon. These guys don't bother having much of a rest. They just like to go straight back into it. So we're not going to be far off, boys. And this next game will be coming up very, very soon.